to touch on one of the most current and relevant and controversial subjects when it comes to writing, and that is the question of whether or not a person should use ChatGPT as a writing tool. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it worth it? And then there are questions of whether or not it is ethical or even legal to use it. Recently, with the developments in AI for digital art, things like DALL-E, OpenAI, and Midjourney, things that I know of and I've used before, ChatGPT offers another avenue for people who are interested in using this type of technology in their daily lives. This is a complicated issue when it comes to writing, however, because it essentially comes down to the question of, are you using this for your personal development as a writer, or are you using this for professional gain? Are you writing blogs for somebody? Things of that notion, right? So again, are you using content for exploration purposes, which is completely fine? Is this a personal blog? Maybe you like writing about food, and you can't come up with something. That's 100% acceptable in my opinion. But the one warning I want to give people is that if you're using this type of technology for business purposes, or you're writing material for other people who are actually paying you, you could get in a lot of trouble potentially because you are not actually doing the work that they've hired you to do. And the same could be said for academic writing as well. This is sort of dangerous waters here, where if a student is struggling to write an academic essay, they're really close to the due date and they end up making the mistake, and it is a mistake, of, and I'm not suggesting using this at all, I'm actually suggesting the opposite, stay away from this as much as you can, because your teachers are going to pick up on it. People who study English understand nuances and things like that. ChatGPT may be good for idea generation, but it should not be depended upon to help you write your academic essays. Just sort of like Grammarly shouldn't be used and dependent 100% on checking your grammar, right? You may think that your prompts that you'd be writing are clever, but those of us who teach writing or linguistics understand the nuances of the English language, and we understand a lot of those things are lost in translation, especially if you're typing them into a computer, right? I myself am able to even discern if somebody is a native English speaker or not, regardless of knowing their background, simply by the way they write, the way they talk, and the idioms they use, because, as I said earlier, English is a complicated thing. Yes, it's guided by parameters and those grammar rules we all love, but those things in language are a little bit more malleable. They're a little bit more, we can change them than the parameters that one might be using to type into a prompt for artificial intelligence, right? Again, like I said, good for idea generation, acceptable for your own content if you're writing your own blog, but if you're actually trying to produce something for someone else, whether it's professionally or academically, or you're trying to write a novel, honestly, it's going to just end up kind of being garbage. So that's just something I wanted you to be aware of. So again, good for ideas, bad for polishing, right? Good idea generation, don't actually use it for things you want to produce. I've had a lot of people ask me about, well, what about ghostwriters then? People who write things for other people, things like biographies. You hire somebody to write something for you because you don't have time, you're too lazy, or you're rich enough where you can just throw money at other people to write something for you because you're a vain person who thinks other people care that much about your life. That's called sarcasm. See how the nuances work? But again, you've got these acclaimed New York Times best-selling authors who actually don't write anything. They give notes to somebody else, and then they put this jumbled mess together in chronological order and call it a biography, right? That's how these things work, and it's something that a lot of people are not aware of. But again, with the use of AI, that's essentially doing the same thing, right? So like I said, it's a complicated idea when it comes to producing a final sort of artistic work. Just be aware, and even the trends here might cross. You could be hired as a new ghostwriter and you've got this ChatGPT and you say, hey, I'm just going to take all these details, I'm going to write some parameters, and I'm just going to push it all together, right? That's sort of two levels away from distancing yourself from the primary source. You're not interviewing the person, you're not engaging with them, you're not reacting to them. So again, like I said, it's just going to end up being garbage. So there's the discussion on ChatGPT. I really didn't think I was going to make this video, but it seemed that I needed to say something about it because there is the potential negative side effects to something that is very interesting, and it's current and it's relevant, and it's amazing to use these sort of new technologies, but again, they can lead you down a dangerous path if you misuse them and don't understand the consequences.